Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
Hello, and welcome back to the Disciples of the Force podcast. We are your hosts, Spencer Bill Silva and Austin Greg Hyatt. We are back with another episode of Disciples of the Force to talk about the Acolyte, episode 4, season 1.
Season 1, Day. I think it's just called Day.
It's called Day?
I don't think it's called The Day, it's just Day.
Okay, hell yeah.
So.
Okay, no Star Wars news, really, so we'll just jump into it.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot to talk about. Maybe there's not.
Sure.
I don't want to. Let's just talk about the big things, and then we can go through our list.
Sure.
Because I'm like, there's some big things we probably want to talk about. The biggest is Ki-adi-mundi showing up.
Yep, some hate on there. So, I always understood that Ki-adi-mundi was super old.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh my gosh.
Bro. I always understood he was super old by the time of the prequels, specifically by the time of the Phantom Menace. But then I saw some complaints online that people were like, in Legends, he's only like 73 by the time of Phantom Menace. And I'm like, okay, well, that's Legends. They can retcon that, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, easy
But
to get around. Then
I saw other people complaining because he is the one in the Phantom Menace that says the Sith have not been seen for 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you putting him in this show just to rub it in our faces? Like, you know what we want and what we care about, and you're rubbing that in our faces. I kind of disagree with that. I think it is a weird decision to put him in.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with them retconning it, but I'm like, why Ki-adi-mundi? Like, show Yaddle or something.
Show me baby Yaddle.
Show Yaddle or Yariel Poof or like one of those other super old. Because here's the thing. If you show Yariel Poof or Yaddle, they have no speaking lines in the original trilogy. You put them in a show like this, it like just builds on them.
Yeah.
And people probably don't get super upset like they did about Ki-adi-mundi.
I agree. I think it would be, yeah. So I had a lot of thoughts running through my head the first look at it. My first thought was like, that kind of, like, I mean, of course, he doesn't know anything that's really happening. He just knows this girl's going killing, so he doesn't know it's a Sith. He doesn't know that.
Yeah.
But then someone on Reddit I was reading, and I'm like, I kind of like this idea. They're like, well, what if he does find out, like, officially, like, that's a Sith Lord? And that line in Phantom Menace is him just lying. Like, him trying to cover it up, like, no, they don't exist.
Oh, that would be
I'm
a
like,
cool
that's
little
an
wrinkle.
interesting storyline. If he knows, and they all agree, we got to bury this.
Yeah.
Can't let anyone know. And so when it pops up, he's like, the Sith have been dead for a millennium, guys. What are you talking
Dang,
about?
I like
kind
that.
of gaslighting him a little
I
bit.
like that. Because part of Ki-adi-mundi's thing is he has two brains. So he's like always thinking ahead. His cognition's super high. So yeah, I could get that. Where like he knows that if he lets the rest of the Jedi Order know, or it could be like a pact with him and the other old Jedi that like it goes up, because right now it's at a level where they're just like, yeah, we can't let the council know about this, but maybe it goes up to where most of the Jedi who are in power know, hey, we can't talk about this.
Yeah, and
that could be cool.
I think that might be fun. But I agree with you. I don't understand why him.
Yeah.
If that's the storyline and that's what they're pushing for, I get it. But I think you're right. There's other cameos you could do. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see how that plays out.
I did want to see real quick while we're on it. I read a bunch of tweets from the Acolyte writer.
Is he the Hog Rider?
No. Jeez. No, she... Claire Keekle, looks like is her name, or Keechel, not sure.
Keekle Matter, yeah.
Keekle Matter. But she responded to a bunch of tweets today. It was like a Q&A.
Oh, okay.
So let me find the one. Give me 1 second here.
You were the one that ruined everything. I'm not cutting that. That is for your ears,
hell yeah.
listeners.
Okay, here's the tweet. Okay, Rue the Day 99 says, in episode 1, he said, referring to Ki-adi-mundi, that the Sith have been extinct for 1,000 years, so either he was lying on episode 1 or else, oopsie, he forgot. Neither option is great. Not to worry for me. In my head, I don't consider any of this actual Star Wars, but do feel bad for the people who still do. Which, like, you're writing directly to the writer. That's kind of people can hide behind a screen, but, like, that's messed up.
They need to have him go meet him in person.
Yeah. Anyway, so she says he has never known about any Sith during this time.
Okay.
So that's either to say, hey, this guy, scary mask guy, kind of cringe mask guy, isn't a Sith. Because, we've talked about that before, like Kylo Ren and bitch ass, sorry for my language, Andy Serkis's character in
Snoke.
Yes, Snoke. Snoke and Kylo Ren are not Sith, but they are dark side users who have red lightsabers.
Right.
That's what I always understood this character was going to be. So I never found an issue with that.
Yeah.
But whatever. So either she's saying that he never knew about any Sith because they're not Sith, or he's just not like led into this. Or I like your theory more about he's just lying about it.
Yeah, but with her responding, that I'm thinking it's probably going to be he never finds out, or he's not technically a Sith, which is, I kind of like the idea of this Jedi line to protect. Kind of be fun,
right?
Makes a line that he delivers a little bit more dark. I don't know.
Yeah, so I did have a couple of other things. Yeah, real quick from these tweets. They're pretty informative. Okay. So one person said, "Did you consult Dave Filoni before writing this episode?" Probably referring to those continuity errors.
Yes.
She goes, not before writing the episode, but after breaking, he gives notes to all scripts and has to ultimately approve them along with the rest of Lucasfilm team.
Yeah.
So, like...
That was my first thought as well. I was like, there's no way Dave let this slip through the cracks if he had a big problem with it. He might have been like, all right, whatever.
Which I don't know. Is he just checked out? Because there are some things where I'm like, why didn't he... But it's whatever. Maybe there is a plan for it.
And like I wonder if he's kind of more in a role where he's not trying to be a dictator. He's trying to let maybe people have more creative decisions. Because maybe when he was coming up, he didn't get those options. So maybe that's what he's trying to do. I don't know.
That's a great point because George is notoriously like that. George was his mentor, and maybe he's like, maybe we let things slide a little bit. Or even Kevin Feige in the Marvel universe, like. That really hampered the Marvel movies for a long time, that they weren't creative enough and like they didn't give directors room to breathe because Kevin Feige was too meticulous on what was going to get made. And that worked. So I'm like, is there a bad thing to it?
Yeah, maybe you don't want too much creative.
Like if you want to watch a creative movie, don't watch a franchise movie. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But also I want creativity, so whatever. Okay, give me 1 second. There's a couple more.
Okay, I can sing again. You be the one to ruin everything. Bear, okay. Where are you at? Okay, go ahead.
Actually, there's nothing.
Really?
This one is kind of interesting. I hope I don't sound rude, but if I may ask, are they mandating y'all to keep the episodes short? Wish they were longer, like the other streamers. This was the shortest episode so far, 35 minutes.
Okay.
And she said, we wrote this one and next week's together, and they kind of had a total ballpark limit for the both. For reasons, she puts in quotes, next week's had to be the longer one, so this one had to be kept short. I think it's the shortest of the 8. Don't quote me, though. Oh. So that's pretty interesting. And where it cuts off, that,
I like
it makes sense that you have to cut that off at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because that's a perfect place to cut it. If this was one long episode before,
right,
you cut it in a good spot,
right?
I would say.
So yeah, all that to say, I don't really. I mean, it does kind of bother me that Ki-adi-mundi's in it, but I think any cameo, like I saw a character that looked like Plo Koon.
I'm pretty sure it was Plo Koon. That's what they're saying on the thing. Even Ryan Erie is saying it's Plo Koon. But does Plo Koon live that long?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I guess any alien in Star Wars can live long. That's
the great thing about not having legends anymore, or having legends and it's not canon, is you can retcon any age for like these purposes. Because whatever.
Yeah, it's this alien species, of course.
Exactly. So
that's what everyone's saying that it is, which I don't know. I mean, it does look just like a young Plo Koon. And it's always in the background. You don't really get a close up of him.
Yeah. Which bothered me because I haven't loved that guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Dave approved it, because they put Plo Koon.
He's like, all right,
he's like his favorite Jedi.
But I wonder, because I mean, then again, it's going to play into it's going to be a weird thing to go with, because if Plo Koon is there and he sees a Sith, does he just sort of never tell anyone?
Because he doesn't roll that way,
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe it's not. A lot of people are almost certain it is. I mean, of course, it's an alien species. They look similar.
Yeah.
Is that alienist? Apologies.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, Plo Koon.
No, but I mean, how many of that species can you have be Jedi? That's the thing.
That's a really good point.
Ki-adi-mundi is certainly one of the last of his race.
Yes, because that's.
I don't know if that's legends or what, but like he had to breed to keep his race alive. So like that's certainly him, right?
I believe because Ryan Airy, when he talked about that the way you just said, how he had like 7 wives and a bunch of kids or whatever it was.
Sure.
And he never said it was legend, so I think maybe it is.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. I mean, you guys will know. But that's how it was.
That's what I'm saying. In the High Republic books, the first one that I read, Light of the Jedi or whatever, talks about how rare it is to have a Wookiee Jedi because it talks about a Wookiee Jedi during that time. And then this one, Kelnacca, he's not even the Jedi that they're talking about.
It's a different guy.
So it's like kind of waters it down when you have too many of the same species.
Plus now we have, I forgot the one's name in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah,
shows up in the Bad Batch again.
It's a cute name.
It is a cute name. It's like on the tip of my tongue. This one's not that bad if we don't remember it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like a deep cut.
Deep cut. Gunji. Okay. So yeah, Ki-adi-mundi, I'm fine with it. Whatever, kind of weird. What do you think?
I'm with you. I think it's a very weird choice to put it in. It's fine, and I'm a little bit more bummed that it's not playing it because the way that tweet, like you said, it making me think that it's not going to play until he was lying in the in Phantom Menace, which I wish he was because that'd be fun for just that would be fun. I interesting choice, whatever. I guess is kind of where I'm at.
Exactly.
They're at the point where I'm surprised Dave is letting this go in because it's like, don't we want to keep some of this like? I mean, I guess let me back up. Sorry for my mind going 1,000 miles an hour. I get maybe that's why they're putting them in because they're trying to get people to come watch it, right? Maybe it's like we have no characters that we know at this time.
Yeah,
we do, but we don't. So maybe they're trying to put in a couple so people might get that Anakin factor of like, oh, well, I'll watch it if I see a glimpse of cameo. Maybe. I still don't love it.
Yeah.
That it's Ki-adi-mundi.
No, I agree with you there. Here's my thing is the people who are complaining about Ki-adi-mundi being in it, for the most part, the loudest people I've seen online have been complaining the whole time. So it's like...
That's true. They've been hating.
Yeah. It's a weird decision, but there are a lot of weird decisions with this show. So like I'm not... It's not knocking anything out of the ballpark for me. I'm like, well, that sucks. Whatever.
Yeah.
So,
it doesn't... Yeah. It's funny. The Reddit forum I was reading today for the Acolyte, this episode, it's pretty positive. I'm like, so either those people haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Because it's only been a day.
That's good.
Or maybe they just stopped caring so much. I don't know. We'll see.
Reddit's actually a good space, man.
Yeah, it's a great, like, you get a very good mixture of both sides.
Yeah.
People will come in defense you, and I've seen a lot of people concede, like, that's a really good point. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, Reddit's cool. Okay, what was the other big point you wanted to hit?
Bless you.
I'm burping over here.
Plo Koon we talked about. The other one, I saw this little controversy. It's not controversy. I saw one article when I go into Google. It'll always give me a bunch of like little articles on the bottom of my phone. One of them was talking about Bazil. Is that how you pronounce the little rabbit? And the article, this is before I even watched the episode, said they only introduced this character just to show its pronouns. And I was like, oh. I watched the episode and I said, hold on. Hold the friggin' phone. I mean, that's just rage bait, I think, because when I watched the episode, she says, is he or they, yada, yada, yada. I said, okay, now, quick pause. I think back in the day, like I would have said what I would say is he or it coming with us.
Yes.
But it is kind of strong now. You don't say that.
Well, yeah, and it's like a sentient being, so she's not going to call it it.
Right. So exactly, yes. So makes sense that she's like that. I'm like, I don't think that's a pronoun thing at all. She's just like whatever the creature is. But that plays into it later on is they literally call Bazil a he when in the forest.
Yeah.
They say, where did he go? I'm like, okay, so then it's not this whole pronoun thing.
No,
it shows her being respectful, if anything.
Exactly. Which is so funny, dude. It's so funny how far we've come that one, Star Wars has to intentionally put that in there show. And I'm like, come on, whatever. But two, that it's even a thing that like people are upset about because you're right, dude. Back in the day, if I'm talking about I remember this. This was an example I used with somebody I was arguing about with this. When I was a kid and I wanted to tell people I was talking to a girl or hanging out with a girl and I didn't want to reveal their gender, I have a friend and they're texting me or they're coming over.
That's
It's just like a general pronoun.
Yep.
Chill the F out, you know? And it's not that my friend was non-binary. I was like being more open so that it couldn't be, you know. And Amanda Stenberg's character, Osha, is just doing the same thing there. It's just funny. It's funny. But I did catch that, and I was like, I don't know. Like, it is... Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, like you're saying, I think, because it didn't play... the character wasn't non-binary. They didn't keep going and calling him they. Mm-hmm. It was just a one-time thing of her saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't really think it's that... Like, that's crazy to rage bait over. Now, this being said, I think Star Wars... It is funny because it's like, you know your fan base. You know you've had a lot of this...
Yeah.
People getting mad about it. So to intentionally put something like that in there, I mean, maybe to stir the pot, because I do know some people love contention. So maybe that's why they did it. Like, let's see if people get mad about this, which is kind of funny if that's what you did.
No, yeah. It is funny that it does seem, and I used to not be on this train, but I'm like, Star Wars is, and even Marvel, are intentionally stirring the pot to, like, aggravate people. And I just don't really understand it. Like, I understand inclusivity and making people feel seen, which I think serves what they're doing serves that purpose. But then there is an aspect of like telling the fan base that they're like, I saw this thing on X, formerly Twitter, about it was like a bunch of headlines about Star Wars isn't changing, you are. Star Wars isn't the problem, you are. And I hate that rhetoric because I'm like...
It's kind of gaslighty.
It's super gaslighty. And like if you're I don't like the Acolyte that much right now because it's just kind of bad.
Yeah. It's not.
So to say I'm the problem with that, I'm like, no, man. I'm as left. I'm as open-minded as they come. But I'm not going to just accept that I'm so stupid or so like bigoted that I hate this show. That, dude.
And I think we've talked about that before on the podcast, where it's just like kind of a scapegoat of like, oh, it's just because you just hate wokeness. You're like, well, hold on, time out. You can't do that to me, because when I'm on your side, I'm trying to just tell you it's bad. Yeah, you got to own up and say maybe it's bad writing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that is a problem. But my question to you is: do you think if George was if he was in charge of this, do you think he would ever put those elements in? Like, I think he's always been pretty progressive. So like people say George would never do such a thing. I'm like, well, maybe he would.
Yeah, I think maybe. It's so hard to tell now because we're at a point where anything put in there feels forced because of the rhetoric that's around it. Like, people get so up in arms about a little thing like that. So it feels like, well, you have to have some intentionality behind it if you're going to put that in, because you know what the repercussions are. So I'm like, George, like you said, is an open-minded individual, or so it seems.
Yeah.
Like maybe he would include something like that. But then at what point are you just being, I don't know. I think he probably would. But it's hard to say in like the current climate. I don't know.
Exactly. It's 100% what if, because there's no way. What if George was woke? Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
Write that down, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. It's a very hard thing to speculate. Can I say that?
Sure.
I think it's the right word. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. There's nothing to us if make like a certain that's how he would do it.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably put elements is all I can think of. I don't think it'd be as I can say this for a certainty. I don't think it'd be done the way it is now.
No, it would not be done the way it is now. But like at the end of the day, George Lucas is a dude from California who's married to the co-chair of Starbucks. Like that'll answer that for you, man. Like he'll put those elements in there. But I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, those are kind of the big things that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Now we can go through kind of notes if you want to start at the beginning.
Yeah,
I guess spoilers at the very beginning.
Oh, spoilers!
No, we actually didn't really reveal anything about the episode. It was just kind of Easter egg stuff.
Yeah. Okay. My first thing. Osha's first interaction with Jackie, the Logan girl. Yep. You know Jackie, because I didn't know her name until I just read it.
Oh, little horns.
Yep. So their interaction at the beginning of the episode, where she like catches her out of practice, and she's like, thanks for everything, whatever. There's like this kind of, it feels like forced chemistry, because I'm like, I don't remember them connecting at all before this. It feels like something was cut. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I was just like, oh my gosh, brother, just like give me the story. Don't like, I don't know. That bothered me at the very beginning.
I agree. I remember watching it, and there were some bad line deliveries. And I'm not going to harp on it too much because we've said it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this whole freaking show is.
That was kind of weird, but I'm with you. I mean, it did definitely seem like there was more there than what was on the screen.
My thing was they're both Padawans or former Padawans of Soul, so maybe there's that connection, and they're just kind of referencing that. That's what it seemed like to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. I wrote down that we kind of got a call back to the enemies of the Senate, where not the Senate, enemies of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Within the Senate, most likely, because when they're all together, she's still cautious. Like, I don't know if you want. What's her name again? Sorry.
Her name is
some of the V, right?
Venestra.
That's what I'm talking about. Sorry, I got to give names when I speak. If you don't remember the first episode, she's like, "That's only going to give our political enemies more juice or whatever."
Yeah, cringe dialogue. Yeah,
and we're like, "What does that mean?" This time, it's still kind of talked about, so maybe it'll be a bigger element later. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of a weird storyline on the side that's going on that we don't know much about.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, okay, this is a stupid note, but Soul is like, Venestra's asking Soul about if he was sure one of them survived. I can't remember which one he was referring to. I think it was May. He's like, nobody could have survived that fall. I'm like, brother, come on. This is Star Wars, dude.
Dude, that's so funny because literally my note is, quotes, I saw her fall, no one could survive this fall. In quotes, I'm like, except for Maul.
Yeah. Palpatine. The whatever Inquisitor we just saw like 6 weeks ago fall off a cliff and live.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, falls don't really matter in Star Wars. Boba Fett fell into a pit. He still made it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. That's so funny we both had it. I was like, that's going to, yeah.
So maybe, I mean, not maybe, duh. She is a living product that she did survive.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. I have the Master collects people. I was like, it's kind of an interesting.
So I want to take a pause on that.
You want to dive into this?
I got on Reddit today. Yeah. I got on Reddit today. I get on Reddit like every day now.
Dude, Reddit's it. Wait, if you want some good content, hit up Reddit. It's
Hell
amazing,
yeah,
honestly.
Dude, let me tell you the Reddits I'm a part of. Letterboxd Reddit.
Hell yeah.
Liberal gun owners Reddit, which is super cringe, but it's pretty funny. I shouldn't have said that. Bird watching Reddit. Saltier Than Crate, which is a Star Wars thing where you just bitch about stuff.
Okay.
Star Wars speculation. Anyway, this one was in Star Wars speculation.
Speculation.
And he was like, guys, I'm not loving this show, but I'm still intrigued on who the masked figure is. Who do we think it is? And the comments were like, it's either Mother Anastasia or her sidekick. Qimir, I think is his name. Yeah. And they were pretty confident about that. So I'm like, I missed all those cues, but now I'm rethinking all the conversations, and I'm like, okay, maybe I get that.
This is why I love you. I missed all of those cues.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm one of the dumb viewers. Because usually I'm like pretty
No,
attentive.
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I'm pretty on top of things. I'm like, I can see where this is going. I was watching a Screen Crush's video, and I'm like, he starts pointing out all the things, like the way he's talking, like the master wouldn't like that. He keeps bringing up the master.
Yeah.
He keeps saying, like, what do you have to do exactly? Okay, like, why do you
testing
want to do
her.
that? Like, testing to make sure she understands. You've never seen his face? And then she asks him, have you ever seen his face? He's like, you know how he is. And like all these little things, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm an idiot.
You're not an idiot. Or maybe we both are. But that's a great point, because I was like, why is he talking like this?
Yes, very. Yeah.
And I was just like, it's just this show. The dialogue's just weird. But then that makes me think. And then the first thing I thought when I read that Reddit post was, she leaves him hanging upside down, and then suddenly the master's there, and I'm like, okay, so I'm in on that train. I was initially Mother Anastasia, which is cool. That's one good thing about this show, is they are genuinely, right now, they're putting enough mystery in it to be interesting. So I'm down for that, you know?
No, I 100%, I think they're doing a great job right now, because I'm like, I actually don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, and then Ryan made a good point. He's like, either it's a really good misdirection of making us think it's Qimir, or it is, and it's just kind of on the nose. He's like, I don't know, maybe there'll be a bigger reveal later. Because one theory, this is a crazy theory, is that Osha and May is kind of like a Fight Club. Have you seen that?
I saw
she's like
Screen
force
Crush's video on that.
I'm like, that's a really far-fetched theory.
Yeah.
But if that was the biggest twist, because that's what he's saying, like maybe there's going to be this twist where it's Qimir, and then on top of that twist they do that. I'm like,
I'd be cool with that. I really hope it's not Qimir, because I'm like, I am not buying this character. He's too much of a goob.
Yeah,
which is maybe they're overplaying it. Yeah.
Well, think about Yoda. when we first see him in Empire Strikes Back, he's super crazy, senile. And then he says, "I'm him," and then he turns like on the he like knows what he's talking about.
I'm him. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe that's what they compared it to. Maybe that's what it is.
I'm down for that, I guess.
You don't have to be. I'm just saying.
No, I'm down for Yoda doing it. I'm not sure if I'm down for Qimir doing it, but that's a good point.
He's a goob.
But I mean, I think there is some credence to it because when he shows up and he does like the force thing and pushes her away, that's a manly hand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, either they put a stunt man in there and it's not a Seiya and it's a stunt dude, or it's Qimir, whatever. But jumping kind of ahead, but also to that part, when he first comes into frame, I was like, dude, that's money. I genuinely felt, I was like, this is an actual, like, they know their stuff because that is a good horror movie reveal.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that because I was like, I hope Austin liked it because I loved that.
Yeah. I was bought in at that moment.
I was like, I'm a little bit scared right now.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Not like to the effect of like a horror film, but I'm like, for Star Wars, I'm like, it's actually pretty damn scary.
It was a very good reveal.
Floats in, everyone's staring, and they're like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah.
And now you mentioned you didn't like the cringe smile on it.
Yeah.
I liked it a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
No, yeah, sure.
I liked it a little bit.
I wrote it off when the first trailer came out and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh. But I will come around to it, I think.
I think it just kind of adds a cool element of like just like the scariness. Like,
yeah.
If I saw that thing in the wild, like, what the hell is that thing?
It's hard to do a good mask in Star Wars because I remember thinking the same thing with Kylo Ren. I was like, they're just trying to do a Vader, but this mask isn't nearly as cool. But now I'm like, Kylo's mask is pretty cool.
That's what I'm thinking too.
So maybe I'll come full circle like that. So
I don't know. Dude, that entrance is really good.
Yeah,
and it's a really good place to end it when all the lightsabers are like, all the Jedi ignite their lightsabers and like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
which I kind of hope it's a bloodbath. I know we're jumping ahead. I hope he slaughters like 4 of them.
Well, dude, that was one of the things the writer said. I didn't read this tweet, but one of the questions was like, I'm not seeing how anybody is going to make it out of this. And there's basically 5 of those Jedi with red shirts on. And if you don't know that reference, I think it originates in Star Trek. But basically, if you're black or wearing red, you are going to die. Like, it's a funny sci-fi trope. And so it's a thing like they're wearing red shirts. And she responded and said, we called them red shirts in the script. So those guys are going to get murked, you know?
So that's maybe it's not Plo Koon. But like you're saying.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
It does water down how many Jedi could be that species.
Yeah. I mean, I care less about that as long as, But
so if they kill him, it's fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I know we jumped ahead, but I just really like that ending.
It was great. Yeah, it was great. It did save it. And here's what I was thinking, and I wrote this down, okay? Because first, I feel bad. A lot of my notes this season have been like cringe lines that I don't like. There's one part where she's talking to Qimir, May is, and she says, I can't believe my sister's Jedi scum. I'm like, oh my word. It's so cringe. Whatever. But then I wrote next, I've been watching a lot of foreign films lately, okay? The most recent one I watched was The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which is a French musical. And the whole time, you're just reading, and you're like, this dialogue is pretty good, but it's on paper. So it's hard to translate in your head that would this dialogue be as good if it were being delivered by the actors? Or does it sound clunky or whatever? And so I was like, if you watch this like a silent film or a foreign film, where you just, for me, where I just scrub my mind of the cringe dialogue, or I just imagine it being written on a script, and it's just a way of conveying information rather than something that I should be emotionally tied to, then I'm okay with it. You know, I thought about just like watching it in silence and being like, because the visuals, the things that are actually happening are pretty cool. It's just the delivery of those lines that are really taking me out of it.
Maybe we should. I was thinking we just download it, scrub all, do the audio. There's the audio music takeaway.
Yeah.
Just have all the music when it's in and the audio.
Dude, I'm there for that.
Or I guess you could just put it in a different language you don't know, like Mandarin.
Yeah.
And then throw in English subtitles. That's probably your best bet of doing it.
I'll throw it in
Try
Japanese,
that.
bro.
See how it is.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to rewatch this episode in Japanese.
Okay, do it. That'll be good. Yeah, because then your mind's not listening.
Yeah.
You could hear like the inflection of the voice. I bet you the Japanese actors are going to be way better.
Sure.
Honestly,
yeah.
I bet money because
if you're a professional voice actor, you're delivering those lines better. Yeah.
Way better.
So that was my little thought, my little tangent. I might do that. But
okay. Well, one thing I do want to give some props to is the establishing shots of Kofar. Kofar is how you pronounce it? That's the...
Yeah, Kofar.
So cool. You can tell they definitely filmed on site for a couple things. I don't think at the end. I think the end was kind of looked volume-y.
Yeah, once they get in the forest, it's a little tricky.
But at least we got to see them out in the wild.
Yeah, that shot after they land where they're on that like green hillside.
Yep.
I'm there for that.
Yeah,
but you can totally tell the difference when they look into the forest and there's those fake trees on line with the real trees.
Yeah.
Or just on line with the real hillside.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty obvious that that's like animated. So,
but
everything else looks great.
Really looks
to your point. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's crazy. It just shizzles.
No, it all looks like shit, actually.
But yeah, I did like that. I was like, I'm glad I get to see some beauty in the Star Wars universe as we talk about.
Facts.
Yeah. What else you got there for me?
I only have like one last thing, and this is before all of the stuff hits the fan. They give Bazil a scrap of Kelnacca's clothing or something, and I'm like, how long has he been in hiding? 10, 20 years? They just have a scrap of Kelnacca's clothing hanging around? Maybe I'm misunderstanding how long he's been gone. I was like,
sounds like
that's whack. That's something that's so stupid and so irrelevant. But anyway.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I love that. Hey, but I'm for that because I'm the same way when I watch something. I'll always nitpick. I'm like, wait, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Listen, I've said this before. You can attack the logic within the universe.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't attack like, oh, well, how come you can use the Force? And then it's like, okay, that's like Force isn't something you can actually do, so you can't attack it.
Yes.
But within the universe, you can say, well, why didn't he use the Force here? I'm like, no, that's a valid point because the Force exists. But you can't question the Force being a thing. Yeah. Because some people I've seen that do, like Marvel movies are like, oh, you could never do that with one of those missiles. I'm like, okay, you're missing the point, dude. Anyway, so I'm with you on that. Okay. You can attack that. That's fine. I got a couple things. I'll just kind of run through them. Honestly, I thought this line was actually kind of a bar. I don't think the way it was delivered was a bar, but I was like, it's a really well-written line. And you might have thought it was cringe, but when she says, we're not defined by what we lose, but we're defined by what we survived. I'm like, that's kind of a Star Wars-esque line. Sure. And I'm like, that's some good writing right there.
Dude, look at Luke, lost his whole family, lost everything, his home.
Yeah.
But he's still
Shrekin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, that's good. They got some little gems in there. Got to look for them. And they're the recurring theme of they're still good in the person, right?
Yes.
They're still good in her soul says. And we see that with Padme talking to Obi-Wan. We see it when Luke is talking to Darth Vader. So stays true to the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Still good in people. These last ones here, I'll just say this one. I do think May's like scream when she tricks Qimir was actually pretty good. Honestly, I didn't remember.
Oh yes.
Maybe they hired a voice because they have like scream actors. I don't know, man. You didn't like it?
No, I liked it. It. I'm saying maybe they didn't hire anybody. Maybe she's just good at that.
And here's the thing. I don't know why. This is like the weird thing in my brain. I always pay attention to screams because sometimes I'm like, oh, that's so bad. Yeah, it's like not believable. It's like, oh, that's a pretty believable one.
Okay, short story. I'm going to send you a video when we get off this. Or it's like an Instagram thread. But I came home for my lunch break yesterday. And sometimes I go sit in my bedroom because it's dark. Because I live in a basement apartment. And so I'll like try to take a nap in there. Anyway, I got on my phone. And I was on Instagram. And I follow a bunch of movie pages. Anyway, it was like the 10 best screams in horror. And I'm listening to it at like full volume. And there's people upstairs. And I'm like, what are they thinking I'm listening to? Because it's just a bunch of women screaming. I'm like, that's probably weird. But anyway, sorry, tangent. But I'll send that to you if you like screams.
Because I like hearing realistic scream. Like, that's pretty spot on. That's how I think a scream would be in that situation.
Sure.
All right, the last things I have here. This is one of my nitpicks. I feel like it's a little out of left field for May's loyalty to be all of a sudden on Osha. I get now. This is why. In my mind, they see each other for the last time. May's trying to kill her, from what we know.
Right.
And then they're at the bridge, and then they lose each other, and she's like, oh, she's dead, whatever. And May I would assume we do know that May thinks Osha's dead because when they see each other on the planet, they're like, "What the heck? You're still alive? That's crazy." And for me, I don't know why. I'm like, if you're already devoted this far into the dark side, like, does that really change? Unless you went on that path because you lost your sister, then I get it.
Bingo. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
She's on that path because she has no other alternative.
Okay.
And then there's hope when her sister's alive. And she's like, I don't need to follow that path. Here's what the writer of the show said. That just reminded me. Glorp on Twitter says, or X, formerly Twitter, says, like, why was she even killing Jedi in the first place then? I assume she wanted revenge. Does her sister being alive remove her thirst for revenge then? I'm just having trouble understanding how does one go from death to the Jedi to for the Republic, screw this Acolyte guy. And the writer says she's not good, in quotations, in that moment. She's just super tired of this pointless, what she considers pointless, missions and errands her master is making her do. And I think the revenge that really fueled her just isn't quite the same once she knows Osha is alive.
Okay.
So
that's a really good insight from the writer, I guess.
I don't like her first answer where she's just tired of it, because I'm like, I don't know if you just get tired of that. But the second sentence of that revenge isn't the same anymore. I'm there for that all day.
Yeah, I back that. Yeah, I get it. If your whole reason to start killing Jedi is because they killed your sister, to what you believe,
yeah,
and you find out your sister never died, it's like, well, I don't hate these people anymore. They didn't do anything. So, okay. All right. I just feel like, I don't know why in my mind I'm like, it just feels like it was out of left field for that episode.
No, it does.
I feel like it could have been done better, I guess.
Absolutely. Especially in this short of an episode where it's like a total 180.
Yeah. Because she's literally there to kill, what's his name?
Kelnacca.
Yeah. And she still shows up, so clearly she wants to go through with it. They're walking, and then all of a sudden, halfway through their walk, she's just like, nah, I'm going to go be with my sister, and I'm going to turn in that guy. I'm like, whoa, okay, now pause. I feel like maybe, okay, you want to be able to be with your sister, but are you like, you're now total 180? Like, I don't want anything to do with you? I'm like, I don't believe that.
Because that throws stuff out of the picture for me, because we're to understand that once the dark side has a hold of you, like, it's hard to get out. Mm-hmm. So if she's really been committed to it, fueled by revenge, leading down a path to the dark side, then like there should be some more resistance. You know, it should be a harder decision to make. But
okay, well, I'm glad you're kind of with me there.
No, I'm with you there. Here's what I've learned, man, from today: we need to hold writers responsible.
Yeah,
like a Q&A after an episode like that. That's pretty money.
That's really awesome.
Be like, hey, explain yourself, man.
Yeah, you put it on the paper. You tell me why. And honestly, I'd love that too, because I'd love if the writer was like, well, look, I had it written this way. They didn't like that and it got changed. Or they say, I had it written this way, but the way they cut it does not convey what I was going for.
Yeah.
Which I think would be really awesome, because it shows you all the elements of making an episode or a movie or something.
Okay, here's one more thing for you.
Let's hear it. No way.
Yeah. Okay, Desert Daddy says...
These names are so funny.
And we never got a chance to see the Wookiee Jedi fight. Shame on you. She says, unfortunately, not everything gets to be included for budget and story reasons. We had an early draft that showed his fight and death scene, but it ultimately broke the POV of the episode in a way that I think wouldn't have worked as well, which I'm okay with. But you're talking about budget? $180 million? You
couldn't fit it in?
You're talking about budget? You've already got the guy in the costume. You can't put a lightsaber in his hands?
I know.
That's crazy to me, man.
That is a little crazy. But, well, here, I will say this, though. I like it better we don't see the fight. Personally.
Yes. No,
But I get what you're saying.
I'm there for that.
The budget thing is a crazy sentence.
And I think I think we might see a flashback of him. Because we've already seen... Well, I guess maybe the one flashback will do. I want to understand. Okay, sorry. Here's what I'm saying. We will see more flashbacks, hopefully, because that stuff has to be explained for why they all went into hiding. Mm. So maybe there's some fighting then that Kelnacca does, and we get to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just touch on it now. Ryan made a really good point. In the trailer, we do see, I guess this is a spoiler? I don't know if it's really a spoiler. We do see Kelnacca attack the Game of Thrones Jedi. For a split second, he paused and he shows he's going, and it looks like he's attacking the other Jedi who's standing there.
Okay.
So maybe it's just a shot. Maybe there's someone in front of him.
Right.
But the theory that's going around is maybe when Anasea used her witch powers to control...
To get White Kid, yeah.
Maybe she controlled the Kelnacca, and it made him attack him, because we do see a huge scar on his face that we didn't see.
Yeah, okay.
So that might explain that. And the reason I say that is because there's definitely going to be a flashback for sure, because there's scenes in the trailer we don't see at all. We haven't seen at all. So.
Okay, well, cool. Then that answers that. Desert Daddy, sorry, you suck. Watch the trailer.
That's the funny part to me. I mean, I guess when you first said it, I was like, you're an idiot if that's the only thing you're focusing on. That's not part of the story. That's not integral to the story. You don't need it. But I also guess we've never seen live action Wookiee wielding a lightsaber. So I guess a little bit, not that much.
Yeah.
Though, because that's a silly thing to nitpick.
Yeah. I'm okay with not seeing it. I mean, it sounds like we will.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the fighting in the show already isn't awesome. You put a guy in a big bulky suit, it's going to get worse. Who cares? But whatever.
Yeah. You're going to be getting Darth Vader in A New Hope fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I will say this. Going off of Kelnacca's death, I loved it because she walks like the way that setting started. Everything, because everyone's going for him. They walk in, she sees him there. I think pretty much everyone was like, okay, he's dead.
Yeah.
But the reveal of him turning in a lightsaber slash with the smoke coming off, really cool.
Yeah.
This just happened. He just got him, and it was a lightsaber. So either it's the Sith or it's the Jedi.
Right.
And this darkness starts creeping in. You see it all
Very
slowly
cool.
start the shadow coming over. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This
I
is
love
setting
that.
the end. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm there for that all day, dude.
yeah, I love that.
Okay, so what are you rating this episode?
Yeah, I'd give the beginning of this probably a 2 or 3.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
I really wasn't in. You get me right here with the master. I'm going to keep calling him.
Once they enter the forest.
Yeah, that point, I'm giving her a 5 or a 6. Maybe no 6, maybe 7.
I'm saying 6, 7.
Yeah,
So let's bring our average down to, well, let's just sit at a 6.
I think
for this
6
episode.
is fair. Because this ending, I'm like, this is really it's a great way it's a great way to end an episode, because now I'm really intrigued for the next week's episode.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a great setup. I also sorry, I just thought of this. We'll keep going off this. Anything else?
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Okay. There was a part that I'm going to be so mad if it comes this way. Osha senses the being in the little cocoon, and it comes out right, and then the soul kills it right. And in the background, you freaking hear him go, "Whoa, that was crazy! It was attracted to the light."
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if you're gonna tell me that next episode those things are gonna come alive, and you're all gonna be like, "Oh, we gotta remember the light. We have to do that." I'm gonna lose my mind. Because you could have done that in a way different way. Now I'm totally. We don't even know if that's how it's going to play out. But it was such a weird line to say. Oh, it was attracted to the light. That was weird.
Well, yeah, that is weird. I noticed that in the moment, but I was like, I'll let it slide, whatever. But now I could see that could be a way some of them survive. If Mask Guy, the Master, is just like chopping down Jedi, and then all these bugs start flying in.
Yeah.
Maybe that gets Soul and Osha and May to escape or whatever. I don't know.
Okay, now you did bring up a part that I didn't think about. Now that you said that, because if with the lightsaber battle they start attacking and all that light starts pouring, that might explain why they'll wake up and go to it.
Yeah.
Then I'm okay with that line, because what my thought was they were going to be getting attacked, and then they were going to somehow think, oh, we got to use the light to distract him. That's what I was thinking.
I hope not. I don't know.
But now that you say that, I'm like, maybe that line isn't stupid, because if they see the light, they're going to be attracted to it, and that's why they're going to start attacking, gives them a distraction to get out. Okay. Then
I'm there for that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I was going to say something about the light sabers. I don't remember.
White sabers, the green and blue and red.
I don't remember what it was.
Okay, you sure?
Oh, man.
You'll be the one who
I don't remember. But I do want to say this. Last thing here. We pretty long episode.
Sure.
You're
Longer than the actual episode.
That's crazy. I will. Ryan Airy made a really good point during his video today. He took a little stop and he talked about the actor of, what's his name? The guy that everyone hates on. He said that Anakin destroyed the
Oh,
Death Star.
the Yord guy or whatever.
Yord, that's his name.
What is
I
that
don't know
his name?
I don't know the actor's name, but yeah, the
Actor's name is Charlie Barnett. Yord, yeah.
And I've been really loving Screen Crush's videos, especially with this series. Give him a watch. We talk about him all the time. Because he is not attacking.
Yeah.
He's being very fair, and he's really just taking it of the story, not the acting or anything he's saying. I'm just looking purely at the story, which I really appreciate because it's a refreshing view from when you get all the hate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. Because even when you read his comments, people still will be like, well, what about this? This was so stupid.
Yeah.
But he takes a break in this episode to talk about the actor who plays Yord. And when he said that, he's like, look, everyone hates this guy. He's like, I think this hate came from his comment when he messed up and he said Anakin Skywalker blew up the Death Star. He's like, and then I think that's just kind of put it on him in here so people already have a negative connotation, which I'm like, a little bit. I didn't really care about that. I just don't like his character. But anyway, he continues on. He's like, but you guys have to understand, like, this guy's job is an actor, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's getting into acting. So he got cast in a Star Wars franchise film, series. So that's huge for him. This is his job. He got in. He's like, he probably, to do his due diligence, probably watched all of them once.
Sure.
And I'm like, and he probably gets confused and then he made a good point. He's like, look at Star Trek. Do you think some of these actors who are well-known actors watched every single episode of Star Trek?
There's no way.
No. He's like, that's not how you're an actor. You're just doing your job. And I'm like, that's a really good point because if you put me in, like, let's say I never watched Harry Potter. You threw me, I got cast in a Harry Potter film. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch him. And I mess up and I say Snape when it's Lucius Malfoy or whatever. People would attack you, but it's like, dude, I didn't know that. I watched him to try to do my due diligence.
No, that's an excellent point because I don't care if an actor knows, really.
Exactly.
And honestly, that dude is probably doing 50 of those interviews during the press tour.
Yeah.
You get the name mixed up. Look, I just misspoke. You get the name mixed up one time. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, the end of the world, whatever. Who cares? So that's a great point. I do care if my writers know about the story or the director, or maybe not even the director. Like, if the writers care, that's what matters. And if they can convey that information to the actor, that's perfect. I don't care if the actor watches all this stuff. I don't care at all.
I think you nailed it 100%. The only people I want knowing are the writers.
Yeah.
The director would be nice, but maybe in some cases, maybe better because they can run with something a different way.
Dude, yeah, it might honestly be better because some of the issues with this show that we haven't liked is like the Star Wars dialogue that is too, like, is just poorly written and poorly delivered. Yeah. Like, that's been a thing in Star Wars forever. You know, people don't like to acknowledge it forever.
Yeah. You
can't deliver bad dialogue very well. It's hard to do so. So, like, it might be better that actors aren't watching this and being like, oh, I need to say that like Hayden Christensen said it in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's going to result in bad quality too.
And I think you made a really good point that I do want to say is, like, it's better for them to not, because nowadays, like, in the 70s, that kind of dialogue is fine.
Sure.
Like, whatever. That's just how they were. Movies weren't, I think sci-fi.
Okay, yeah.
It's not, sorry,
sci-fi,
70s had amazing dialogue. Sorry, I meant like sci-fi type movies are very like, whoa.
Yeah.
And as we've progressed, I like now sci-fi movies don't need to have those.
Exactly.
Dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, you can do a Rogue One, you could do an Andor, and be fine. That's what I was trying to say.
No,
70s had good movie and dialogue. Sorry.
That's a great point, and it goes back to my thing with dialogue, or with less is more sometimes. What I was talking about earlier of, you know, just kind of stripping the dialogue away from this. Denis Villeneuve is one of the best sci-fi directors out right now.
Oh, yes. Dune guy.
Dune, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049. Some of the best sci-fi of the last decade and a half.
Absolutely.
He hates dialogue. He's like, if I could make a movie without dialogue, I would. Which, if you're making sci-fi without dialogue, that's peak, man. That's great. You ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey?
No, but I know. How many minutes is it without any talking?
A ton. I mean, it's a long movie, and there's not a whole lot going on all the time, which is great. I watched a movie yesterday from the 70s. It came out a week before Star Wars came out in 1977.
Okay.
Bombed because it played for 1 week and then everybody forgot about it. It's called Sorcerer by William Friedkin. Same guy that directed The French Connection and The Exorcist.
Okay.
An amazing movie. But the first 30 minutes is dialogue And then the rest of the movie, very, very little. And I'm like, that works perfectly. If they could find a way to do that in Star Wars, and they kind of have with Andor, where it's very muted, there is dialogue, but it's not the same kind of over-explanatory, like over-expositional. So yeah, to your point, sci-fi works best when there's little dialogue. Yeah. And most stories work best when there's less. Less is more. Mm-hmm. So if they could find a balance here, and they're not going to. This show is not going to.
Yeah, we've already passed.
It's whatever. But to that point, less is more, and we just have to understand that sometimes.
All right, you made me think of two things. Sorry, listeners. If you're still holding on, thank you.
Thank you.
It's only 15 minutes. This guy does
2
hours podcast.
Yeah, my other podcast is 3 hours.
To me right now, I'm like, this is long. No. Going back to that, looking at Andor, I'm like, Andor is a deep cut, kind of a deep cut, but not a lot of people who aren't diehard Star Wars fans are going out to watch Andor.
Yes.
And that gives them a liberty to really not have to over-explain because they know a lot of people are going to understand the universe. You bring this in where it's new, I feel like that's why there is so much dialogue because they have to try to explain it because people have never done any of this. It's all brand new, and they know a lot of people are going to come watch it.
That's a great point.
So I'm wondering if that is why. But the second part what you're saying, I agree, less is more. Some of my favorite moments in film are when it is just quiet and you just hear the wind rustling and they're walking.
Hell yeah.
My favorite shots. And then you're just kind of establishing. It's like maybe 4 minutes of someone just going through some of the woods.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right.
And I love that kind of stuff.
Dude, I love that.
So
you made me think of one more thing.
Sure.
The reason Andor is so good and so easy to understand without too much exposition or over-explaining is because it has just themes that everybody can relate with. It's like fascism, space fascism, and fascism in the real world, bad.
Depending on your side.
Sure, yeah. Underrepresented people who want to start a rebellion, usually pretty good. Like all of us can resonate with that, you know. In this, it's harder to get those themes across.
That's really
because
true.
It's like, how relatable is this? Where you have a long lost twin and she's evil and you're good and you're working for this master. It's less relatable. Yeah. So you do have to dialogue has to do a lot of legwork because those themes aren't as familiar.
That's a really good point. I mean. Looking at the story, you know, already established peak of the time Jedi, who have really no confrontation at all.
Yeah,
I mean, how many people? I mean, it's a really hard. You got a really good point there.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get into that.
But that's why last episode worked pretty well for me, is because it's like the Jedi cracking down on people that don't share the beliefs. You know,
that was I'm like that's really a really great element.
Yeah, that made me think of the Governor Boggs' extermination order in Missouri and our poor Mormons that got hunted down and killed. Just kidding.
You heard that here first.
Yeah, go look it up. Look up Mormon extermination, William Boggs, Missouri.
It's funny you say that because I just read like that whole kind of arc in the Saints book.
Oh, you're reading Saints, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, hell yeah.
It's the only book I got lying around, so I figured I'd pick it up.
Hell yeah. It's a good toilet book.
Let's see. I think we've really touched everything.
Yes. Real quick, I want to say, not William Boggs, Lilburn Boggs. Just had to, if you're actually going to look it up, which you probably won't. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I think they just call him Governor Boggs the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
So William sounded great, honestly.
Sure.
It sounded perfect. Anyway, we got some legwork here we got a lot done today, not in the podcast, but in the Acolyte. Because I feel like we're getting into a part of the story that's going to be fun. And I'm really hoping these guys just clutch it up.
Yeah.
I hope they don't drop the ball and make me hate it. Because now you got a story I'm interested in. I'm like, we're in the woods. We still don't fully know what happened on the planet with May and Osha.
Yep.
We don't know who the master is. You're leading us in a couple ways. You really got me. Hey, you really got me.
Sure.
Don't lose me.
Yep.
That's what I want to say.
That's a great point. They got me right where they want me.
They got me.
I'm sold right now. So we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for next week.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
Thank you for being a disciple of the Force.